It's 10 months later, a lot more work needed to be done to the engine. So the car has to move this weekend, and I have to kind of work on the tie rods because now 7 years ago, 6 years ago, I put 2 inner tie rods on one tie rod sleeve. A 16-year-old me didn't realize what he was doing, so now I have to go back and fix the mistakes I made. I'll show you the engine, I'll show you how far I got into tearing it apart. Go ahead, take a look at that, and then I'll show you what I jumbled together, my 16-year-old self jumbled together. Alright, gotta grab the good old keys. So I got her up on jacks, gave her a few washes. I love these old Ford keys because they're about 2 of the same key, but they both do different things. And I really should have just checked if I locked it first. It isn't locked. Let's see what we got. Look at that. So I don't know if you can see that. Let me just move this out of the way. That's what she looks like. I want to say that orange spot right over there. I think that was my trouble cylinder. That's where I think the head gasket blew out. I'm gonna have to eventually pull this, and I'm gonna have to start working on it. I also messed up a ground to the transmission. It was rusted onto the bolt, and I kind of sheared it off, and I broke the ground cable. So you can't really see it. I'll have to show it. I'll show it whenever the engine's out. Finally got a garage, or not even a garage, like a steel shed that I can like take the engine, take it out, put it on a workbench, and disassemble it, mic everything up, and see if the engine's still good. At least the bottom end's still good, because I can send the heads off. The heads are still good. I don't think they don't look physically damaged, or at least the one that I pulled off. Okay. So this piece right here was the head of a ground, and it was rust welded onto this stud and nut, and I ended up snapping the cable. And here's the head. The head looks relatively okay. It doesn't look too dirty actually. The head looks really clean. The valves look pretty dirty. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. One of the other things I also discovered, somebody tried to do a hack job. See that? Somebody tried to JB weld this intake manifold. Because they tried to JB weld it instead of replacing the actual manifold, like it was causing a huge coolant leak. Let me show you my cobbled up failure, we'll call it. Okay, so as you can see, that is an inner tie rod with another inner tie rod. I think I have to take this apart. So this is what I have to do today. I actually replaced all of this. So I did everything right up until the tie rods, and that was because I was being rushed. The pitman arm, that's brand new. I forgot what this was. I think this is the link bar. It's been a while, but this is brand new. And as you can see, like the cotter pins were put in, everything was torqued to spec. I greased up the, I forgot what this was. I think this is like a rotating arm. I totally forgot what that was. But everything was good up until the tie rods and the tie rod sleeves. So that's where she's at. Let's see, let's take a look at the frame. The frame looks okay from up here. Looks alright over there. Control arms still look good. Let's see, the rest of the frame looks alright. Let's check out the back. So here's the other part of the frame. That just looks like it's surface rust. Yeah, it's just surface rust. At least this side looks alright. Now the rear end, I knew the rear end was alright. The rear end isn't gonna give me any problems. What I'm dreading is dropping this fuel tank. I'm gonna have to drop this fuel tank when the engine's done and replace it. New fuel pump as well. New brake lines can hurt. These gas shocks, they need to be replaced. Nothing looks too bad. But let me show you how the interior is. I don't ever think I showed the interior back in December. She doesn't look too bad, right? Here are the notes that I wrote that they got wet, but the car isn't wet. It doesn't smell like mold. so, which is a good sign. She has 176,000 or 107,000 miles. That's kind of like low mileage for one of these cars. That's what the back looks like. Not too bad. Nice little bench seat, right? The dome light has some pitting on it. It has to be worked on. She still, I put a dash pad on it just to keep it clean. And also, yeah, see, bugs be dying on here. But also just to prevent the dash from cracking anymore, because that dash does not look good. Original radio and original clock. I remember all this stuff working really well. I actually love this car. Love driving it when it was on the road. When I have my permit, this is like my main car to drive. This is it. This is pretty much where I'm at 11 months later. On my notes to myself, it was winterized back in 2015. I changed the oil, I changed the fuel filter, I put fuel stabilizer in the fuel tank, and I ran it for about 5-10 minutes. It's got brand new spark plugs from at least 2015. Still needs a lot of work, to be honest with you, but I think the #1 rule to any type of project like this is that you just need to get it running. That right there will keep the project going. And there are a lot of things that obviously need to be replaced, like all of the suspension needs to be gone through, brake lines need to be replaced, fuel tank has to be dropped and replaced, you know, and then the wiring is an issue as well. Issues that this car had before it was parked that need to be addressed once the engine gets worked on. Take care of your cars and maintain them and love them, because that's what they need. They need love and care. I'm going to try to fix my mistake of what you saw. Shouldn't be too hard. A lot of frustration for maybe about a couple hours and then it'll be over. But alright, well, I'll have to give my 16-year-old self a little bit more credit, because this tie rod sleeve and end came off relatively easily. Cleaned up the rotor just a little bit so this way it could spin freely. Just to give you an idea of what it looked like. That's what she looks like now. Clean that up. Been cleaning it up with clean Scotch-Brite, and then that seems to be doing the trick. I'm wearing my little rinky-dink mask over there so this way I don't inhale none of that garbage, but so far that's what she looks like. And then take the backs off. See what the backs look like. I know it's a rotor drum setup, so we'll keep on pushing. I got all of the tie rods to put together, so this is what I did. Right, I cleaned up the brake rotor. I put some anti-seize, put a lot of anti-seize everywhere. So I put anti-seize on the threads, put it on the rotor. The wheel doesn't get stuck, the lug nuts don't get stuck or frozen and break. Alright, here's how everything looks now. Right, so I got passenger side, outer, sleeve, inner. Everything's been torqued down. So I torqued both sides to 45 foot-pounds according to my Haynes book. Right, that one right there, that's inner, sleeve, then outer. So the other side I did the same thing. Add some anti-seize to the brake rotor, cleaned up the rotor surface, and then added anti-seize to the stud so the lug nuts wouldn't break off. That is for the front. Got the front suspension back together. The tie rods are of equal length. I have to get to the backs, and I have to take a look at these drums to see how the drums are doing. So all I have done is take the Scotch pad to the pads. No pun intended. Look at that. No banging. A lot of spiders though. So I cleaned up the inside. You know what? For sitting for 6 years, they do not look that bad. Other side, I had a lot of spiders. I do not like this side, but that's what it looks like. I haven't cleaned anything, I haven't blown anything out. Well, okay, I scotched up or scuffed up the pads with the Scotch guard, but this is the drum that I had to take off. I had to slide it off a couple times. Clean this one up as well. So, you know, not bad. Both master cylinders seem to not be leaking. Either that or there's no brake fluid back here. Pretty much it. I've accomplished what I want to accomplish today, so this thing can move back and forth. I was thinking about all the stuff that still needed to get fixed while I was working on this car. I remembered that the AC and the heat didn't work. I did notice that there is a hot spot, passenger side wheel bearing. When I was in high school, I took this thing in to my shop. The right brake caliper replaced, and the wheel bearing was replaced and repacked. A week later, when I was driving it home, the right wheel locked up completely. So I don't know if that was from a faulty brake caliper or a bad wheel bearing, but either way, that has to be addressed. It would be smart to just do hoses, calipers, and bearings in the front. That would be the majority of the safety components that would make the car safe to drive. Now, would I would go on a long road trip with this car with the way the suspension is? Absolutely not. I would have to go through, take everything apart, and replace it all with like brand new bushings. It's rear air shocks, and there's a fitting in the back to fill up the air shocks like with an air compressor. So I don't know if I'm going to keep that, because air shocks leak over time. So I don't know if I'm just going to replace with a nice, good set of shocks. And you know what? I might go with the new set of shocks, and I might find like a police cruiser Crown Vic, and I might upgrade the suspension. I might take parts off and put them on, and then sell that off. Or I might just source the parts directly and upgrade everything to a heavy duty package. So this way, the car lasts longer. I don't know. I do appreciate you stopping by, looking at the video, viewing the video. There's just a lot of stuff that needs to get done with this car, but you know, you're going to be taking the journey along with me. Even though the video is condensed into minutes, this does take hours. It takes days, months, and it's coming up to a year from the last time we filmed. So we'll see where she's at in another year. Stay tuned.